Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wiley Drake. I have the privilege now to serve since the year 2000 as the chairman of the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C. It was also my privilege in 2007 to be the second vice president of the largest Protestant denomination in America, the Southern Baptist Convention. It's also been my privilege to serve as a chaplain to several organizations. One of my first assignments was back many years ago and reassigned recently by the leader and the president of an organization called the Minuteman Project. Brother Jim Gilchrist is my brother in the Lord and my boss as I serve as chaplain to the Minuteman Project. It is also my privilege to be an oath keeper. I belong to the Oath Keepers of Orange County, California, and it's also been my privilege to serve as their chaplain. I have served as chaplain for the Oath Keepers. I've served chaplain for the Minuteman Project, and I happen to be a pastor of a local New Testament Messianic fellowship here in Buena Park. As a result of the government, the federal government, the state government coming after me, the IRS, the local city council, etc., to ad nauseum, I sit before you now with all of those other titles and other backgrounds. I sit before you today as a convicted criminal. The city of Buena Park, California, in Orange County, California, convicted me in 1997 of 4 criminal misdemeanors. When they started, they had 11 charges against me. We found out the night before court that 6 of those were absolutely bogus, as told to us by a member of the staff at the city. And so we were told that those 6 charges could not be upheld because they were saying that there were not permits for certain things that we had done. And this dear lady from the city called me and said, "You can find these permits at the city records," and gave me the record locator. The next morning, though, the prosecuting attorney, Mr. Greg Palmer, who relates homeless people to stray cats, he says homeless people are like stray cats. You feed them, they'll stick around. Well, that's only partially true. But at any rate, he got up the next day in court and said, in the interest of justice, we're going to drop 6 of the 11 charges. Well, they did indeed drop those 6 because he requested it. But had we have been able to go first, we would have said, you must not even consider them simply because they're bogus. But he would not tell the jury that. And so we proceeded. At that point, there were still 5 charges against me, one of which had to do with the fact that they were saying we had a motor home or motor homes or campers on church property, allowing people to sleep in them. Now, that was not true. We had allowed some people to park their campers on our church parking lot, not to sleep in them, but to sleep in our dormitory. And they parked their vehicles on our lot because we are in the business of helping people rehabilitate their lives. One way that people get in serious trouble is to have either a car or a camper that indeed is out of date licensing-wise, and so we allow them to park them here on the property. Well, the jury heard that evidence and found me not guilty of that crime of allowing people to sleep in their vehicles because there was no evidence to substantiate it. Now, that left 4 criminal misdemeanors. Each of those criminal misdemeanors carried with it a potential of 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. So I was facing 24 months in jail and $4,000. We went before the judge and before the jury, and the jury indeed found me guilty. What were those crimes? The crime of converting a storage room or a Sunday school class into a storage room to store food for the poor and the homeless, converting another Sunday school room into a sleeping quarters, and also allowing people to sleep on the sidewalk, not public sidewalk, but the sidewalk within our own church property here at the First Southern Baptist Church and Messianic Fellowship. So they charged me with violations of conditional use permits, and the jury found me guilty because the judge would not allow jury nullification. That is, they could not vote their conscience. The judge said, if the evidence says he's guilty, you must find him guilty. And so the jury, under the instruction of the judge, said that they had to find me guilty. Now, I'm going to go off just for a minute and reconnect so we'll get a better connection.